Unrest in New Caledonia escalates as tensions mount. In the wake of escalating unrest in the French Pacific territory of New Caledonia, President Emmanuel Macron has convened an urgent meeting of his Defense and Security Council, marking the third such meeting in under a week. The previous two meetings resulted in the declaration of a state of emergency and the deployment of reinforcements to assist government forces in restoring order. On Sunday, French forces embarked on a major operation to reclaim control of the main road leading to La Tontuda International Airport, which has been inaccessible to commercial traffic since last Tuesday. Authorities have announced that the airport will remain closed until midnight on Thursday French time, despite requests from Australia and New Zealand to expedite its reopening for the evacuation of their citizens. Speaking to reporters in the capital, Nouméa, French High Commissioner for New Caledonia, Louis Lefranc, declared that Republican order will be re-established, regardless of the cost. He issued a stern warning to separatists, stating that if they resorted to armed resistance, they would risk the worst. This chilling message came as the bodies of two gendarmes, Nicolas Molinari and Xavier Salou, who lost their lives in New Caledonia, were returned to France on Monday morning. France's Interior Minister, Gérald Darmanin, attended the military base in Vélizy-Villacoublay, southwest of Paris, to posthumously decorate the fallen officers and receive their coffins. Both gendarmes were originally stationed in the Paris region. Tragically, at least 3 other individuals, Indigenous Kanaks, have also perished in the violence. According to French media reports, despite police and gendarme efforts, the number of roadblocks erected and controlled by independence activists continues to proliferate. The situation has been described as agitated during clashes between law enforcement and protesters, resulting in the ransacking and torching of 150 businesses, leaving 1,000 individuals out of work, according to the New Caledonian Chamber of Commerce. The unrest in New Caledonia, home to approximately 270,000 people, has been simmering for a week, ignited by French plans to implement new electoral regulations that would grant voting rights to tens of thousands of non-Indigenous residents. The French territory, located northeast of Australia, has long grappled with pro-independence tensions, but the current violence represents the most severe in decades. Authorities report that approximately 230 individuals have been detained, while an estimated 3,200 people are either stranded in New Caledonia or unable to return. France has dispatched an additional 1,000 security personnel to the islands. On Sunday, about 600 heavily armed police and paramilitary forces participated in an operation to retake the 40-mile, 64 kilometers, main road from Nouméa to the airport, authorities said. According to Darmanin, forces equipped with armored vehicles and construction equipment dismantled 76 roadblocks. Outside the airport, a man in his 50s named Jean Charles, wearing a Kanak independence flag and a scarf around his head, described the events. "The police came through, they cleared the road, and we stood aside. We're pacifists," he said. "Once they were gone, we put the roadblock back up." The restoration of supply chains is crucial as the archipelago faces shortages of essential goods, including groceries and blood for transfusions. "We are starting to run short of food," Lefranc said. In Wellington, New Zealand's Foreign Minister, Winston Peters, announced that their military had completed preparations for repatriation flights. Australian tourists Maxwell Winchester and his wife, Tiffany, were forced to remain in a barricaded resort on the airport road for days after their scheduled departure from Nouméa. "Every night we had to sleep with one eye open, worried that they were coming in to loot us," he said. "This morning at an exit near here, the gendarmerie was coming through, and there was a shootout." New Caledonia has been under French rule since the mid-1800s. Nearly 2 centuries later, its political landscape remains dominated by debates about the island's future, whether to remain part of France, become autonomous, or gain independence. These divisions follow ethnic lines, with Indigenous Kanaks constituting approximately 40% of the population but facing higher rates of poverty and lower levels of education compared to European Caledonians. Kanak groups argue that the proposed voting regulations would diminish their political influence. On Sunday, the presidents of 4 other French overseas territories, La Réunion in the Indian Ocean, Guadeloupe and Martinique in the Caribbean, and French Guiana in South America, jointly penned an open letter demanding the withdrawal of the electoral changes. Civil liberties groups have also challenged the TikTok ban imposed by the French government, with an emergency hearing scheduled at France's top administrative court in Paris on Tuesday.